Hey everybody, welcome back to another Judgment commentary of Kaguya-sama, Love is War, Ultra Romantic. But today, we're going to be checking out episode 11. But last time, on episode 10, there was a lot of romance in the air, a lot of things heating up in that department. As has been, kind of continuously happening throughout this arc. But we started off by seeing that little haunted house attraction thing that they were talking about. It seemed pretty spooky, they had this girl with scissors saying she wanted to cut off your ears. But then it got even more intense by having them wear headphones and then playing that really realistic 3D sound of like scissors going right next to their ear. Ugh. But in order to capture that highly realistic sound, they needed to either use a fancy dummy head or just use a real person. And in this case, they decided to use Miko, which would have already been bad enough for the poor girl to have to be subject to these very scary sounds, but they also used it as a bit of an opportunity to sexually harass her, so there's that. I mean, it diverted into some very, very weird territory. They even made her do it a second time because her screaming got in the way the first time around. But the real sad thing that happened was that Ishigami was gonna go in there with Tsubame, try to get closer to her with that. But then Kashiwagi and her boyfriend decided to ruin it all by making out in one of the lockers, causing Miko to separate the boys and the girls into different parts of the attraction. But then the next segment just focused on Fujiwara's sister, Moeha, who seemed to have gotten a little bit of an affinity for Miyuki. It doesn't really mean much, it's just a crush from a middle schooler, but Fujiwara took it very seriously. She wanted to sabotage this right out of the gate by trying to prove to her sister that Miyuki is not perfect and has a lot of things that he's very bad at. Her first attempt at that was juggling, which, to be fair, you'd think that he'd probably be pretty bad at juggling given, his issues with hand-eye coordination in the past. And really, most people aren't just commonly good at juggling. But it backfired. Miyuki is very good at juggling because his grandmother happened to enjoy juggling and she taught him how. And then it backfired even worse because she kept tossing different things at him to try to see if he was bad at them, but he was really good at all of them. And what if you pointed out that a lot of the things she was having him do are stuff that somebody like Miyuki from a lower income family would usually do to try to pass the time, stuff like yo-yos and tops and things like that. So it didn't really work, and Moeha still likes Miyuki. Which almost resulted in her getting shanked by Kaguya for a minute there once she walked in on that, but eventually the tables turned and Kaguya started to just kind of bond with her over their shared interest in him. Which that kind of thing happens a lot with Kaguya, where she comes into a situation with a lot of animosity towards somebody, and then she just immediately flips the script when she finds some kind of common ground with them. But, big update for Ishigami here, because after the whole thing with the haunted house didn't work out, he just brought her somewhere else and decided to give her a big heart-shaped cookie. Now he didn't think much of it when he was doing it, but everyone else there obviously saw the potential romantic intent in that. I mean, come on, it's the Devoted Hearts Festival, man. You give somebody something shaped like a heart, it obviously means you like them, but somehow he didn't think of that. So Tsubame took that as a 100% guaranteed confession. She got a little flustered and ran off so she could gather her bearings. Anywho's it, let's just can the jibber jabber and head into what is essentially the penultimate episode of Season 3. Let's go. Because believe me, Tsubame, just outright friend-zoning him will not leave him in a good state. But the question remains, who is Arsene, or however you pronounce that? I'm sorry, I don't know how, but after looking it up, it is apparently a French name of Latin origin, rooted from a word that means male or virile. With it being of French origin, that could point to it potentially being Miyuki because of his previous inability to speak French. Perhaps it means that he has now taken the time to learn a bit more about it, and is using that knowledge here for the sake of this romantic move, but that's a bit speculative. Perhaps it should be obvious by now, but my head kinda hurts, so I'm having trouble thinking. But this episode has been a roller coaster of laughs, good times, and romantic tension. Definitely a lot of romantic tension. It's like, man, I could go with a play-by-play of these segments, but I think that would be a bit of a disservice to the episode itself. Like Miyuki trying to turn the table with the hearts, Kaguya trying to give advice to Tsubame, and the fact that Kaguya and Miyuki just got to genuinely enjoy a nice day together, all for it to end with Miyuki telling her that he's leaving, that he'll be skipping a friggin' grade and going to college at Stanford University. Now, will he follow that up with a confession? I don't know. Perhaps his hope, his last Hail Mary attempt here, is that by him saying this, that Kaguya will confess to him out of desperation. It's possible, but her mind would be awash with the possibilities here. Because at this point, one might think that it would be in vain to confess, because as far as she's concerned, he's gonna skip a grade and go off to college in a different country. Would confessing to him actually be enough to change that? That'd probably be her thought. I would like to give credit to the way Fujiwara rejected that dude with her philosophical nonsense, though. Just giving him a freaking quiz being like, hey, I am a feather, but I have no weight. What am I? And he gives a really smart answer about some kind of feather of justice from Egyptian mythology. But no, turns out she meant the feathers of the wings of her heart, that are free and not tied down, and they go wherever they want. Apparently that weird non-answer was enough to satisfy him. Oh, and also, gotta mention this, the way Ishigami tried to stand up for Miko and protect her from those two dudes who were trying to ask her out, it makes me think that even should things not go well with Tsubame, even if she does reject him, even in a kind fashion, perhaps things aren't exactly over for him. Overall, I greatly enjoyed this episode. It was a mishmash of a lot of the things that make Kaguya a real joy to watch. Like, seriously, most of the elements that are fun about this show were present here, including a reference to PlayStation 1 era horror games where you're walking around with tank controls. But for now, I think I'll leave you guys here, so thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed. Subscribe to be updated on more. Next time, we check out what is the final episode of Kaguya at this point in time, episodes 12 and 13, which will be meshed together as one big video for us to watch. Seriously, even the download I have of it, I think combines them into one video. But it truly does all come down to this one last moment of tension here with Miyuki telling her that he's going off to college. How is she gonna respond? How is he gonna follow up? I don't know, but I guess we'll see. So, this episode was great. I genuinely hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to catch you next time. But till then, I will see you guys later!